All right, we're going to start the recording for the comprehensive planning meeting for February 8th. We are just reviewing the agenda item number 1, the meeting minutes. Mark Malmadeer had a couple of minor corrections. We'll just get some email feedback from the rest of the group just to make sure nobody has any additional formatting suggestions or corrections, and then we'll consider those to be approved and get those posted to our website. Let me just take some notes on that. Actually, started a file. Okay. Reviewed. Great. We will move on to item number 2 on the agenda is draft language for print ads and mailings. So I have some very rough drafts of those put together. And I am just noticing that in this folder, it looks like there are some copies of the press release from 2008. So I think what maybe would be best, because we have such a small group here today, is I'll do a little bit of wordsmithing on that and then just send it to the group to review and make any comments on. The one thing I think maybe we just have a brief discussion on is so I sort of had 3 categories for language that we're going to need to draft. So we're going to need to draft language for print ads, something that's going to probably, I think the only real outlet we discussed last time would be the Penny Saver. Is really the only print publication left. So draft something for the Penny Saver. Then we need to draft something for, I called it kind of a general bucket of mailings. So that would be a postcard. And that would include a QR code. It would emphasize information about how to sign up for emails once we get the email program up and running. And then it would also chat about responding to the survey. Those would be kind of the 3 overarching goals. And that could also be something we decide to include as an insert with the water bills, recognizing that doesn't reach all of our residents, but it may be something after we send out the initial postcards towards the end of what we determine the survey period to be. We just send like a reminder with water bills. Any other mailings you've done previously or wish that you had done?
Geez, I don't remember what we did. Second version was a pretty minor revision.
Yep.
The first one, I'd have to go back into my archive and see what I might have. But back in that time period, there was a lot more print coverage.
Yeah.
I think we did at least one mailing.
Yeah. I think we budgeted for 2. And the postcards are fairly inexpensive to mail. So I don't think there's a harm in doing a couple of postcards. And then the last bucket of sort of print material would be some sort of flyer that's gonna be a little bit lengthier and maybe chat a little bit more about what a comprehensive plan is and why we're looking for input from our residents. So that's something I'm thinking, could be posted here at Town Hall. We had chatted about the library. If there, I don't know if there's like a community board at this church at all, if they'd be willing to post something.
You know, people go to church, go to that church anyway. I mean, it's a nice little church.
I think Steve Grote might be involved with that church, so maybe I'll recruit him. I know does something with the cemetery over there.
Which is technically that's a town cemetery. It's not,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know how that.
Yeah, a lot of times they end up falling to the towns because nobody wants to take care of them
Yeah,
anymore.
that's the case with the Hollow Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
Pay somebody to mow it. Well, it's a whole separate cemetery.
So basically, I kind of organize them from shortest to longest. Print ads are gonna be our most concise. Our postcards and mailings are gonna be we can include a little bit more information. And then flyers are gonna be our longest. So I'd sort of started drafting something for the flyer. And then maybe we just pull a couple of key phrases for that. Make it a little smaller for the mailings and then pare it down even a little further for the print ads. So I'll work on wordsmithing all of that and send it out to the group.
Survey, like we were talking about before we started, I'd be happy to take, if you've got a source for this,
Mhm.
that might be nice, you could email that to me, but I think I can work off the PDF. Did you generate the PDF or was that?
It was in that folder.
Yeah, let me see if it was, if I can copy paste text out of it, or if it was done as an image PDF, I'll need the source, but, let me reduce it to a concise list of questions, the ones where there's, the ones that have the bar charts, I'll retain that, but the other questions where the open-ended answers are there, I'll just stick that at the end. People, if anybody here in the group wants to see the answers, they can go to them, but as far as having a working list of questions,
Sure.
they just having questions, make it a lot more workable for this.
Okay, yeah.
I will do that pretty quickly, because that's pretty easy.
Okay,
me.
yeah, let me look, like I say, there's a lot of stuff in this file.
But don't worry about it, I'll try when I get home tonight, see if I can pull text out of it.
Okay.
The alternative is if you can't find the source, then it's retyping, that's good to be.
Yeah, that's a pain. I'm sure don't do that, because I'm sure we can,
It looks like it's generated a spreadsheet.
yeah. Tracking online versus manual. Let's see what this spreadsheet is.
Or it could have been done as a table in Word document.
Yeah, there's a bunch in here, so
We work with them together.
yeah, take a look at that, and if it's being fussy, I'll go through this long list of files and see what, there's a bunch of zip files on here too, so I'm wondering if one of those could be the long lengthy survey stuff. Okay, yeah, and I think that it's worth holding off on, really diving into all those questions till we have a little bit of a larger group. Just so that we can really, some of the stuff, just initially reading through it, it asks about like how satisfied are you with your Frontier phone service?
Yeah,
And
that's-
I think that is a question that can be,
Yeah.
I think a lot of that technology stuff are probably gonna be our biggest areas of updating
Yeah,
in the survey.
there were some of them I would dump all together, and that's one of them, because there's so many choices now.
Yeah.
Some of them are expensive, but yeah, I that's like not relevant.
Yeah, so I think that some questions about the, you know, like public water and sewer are gonna need to be
Yeah,
reviewed, and some of the technology stuff. But I think a lot of the questions are pretty good as is.
yeah, well, like, think since this was done, there's talking about a 5-year capital plan for highways, quarterly plans. I think there's a mandate that Jeremy has to produce a 5-year plan every year. And I think
Okay.
quarterly, something that'd be something that's just done within town's purview.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of the stuff, you know, I think anything that is borderline, like we think this is not necessary, I think we should think long and hard about removing. I think the more concise the survey is, the better quality of feedback that we'll get and the more responses. So so stuff like that, if we're like, the town is already doing this, like why? And is the average resident concerned about a 5-year, you know, capital improvement road plan or so yeah, I think that we'll have to definitely work through some of that stuff.
Like I said, we'll get to a more workable 6-page thing. But wrap their arms around that.
Okay. Perfect. Any input on email platforms or survey platforms?
Those are things that will experience.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I haven't really had a chance to dive into those a ton.
does the county do anything? Anybody over there
Yeah,
buy them a cup of coffee?
yeah, I definitely could. The county,
Or
the
any
county
company
website has functionality where you can do it right through our website as like a listserv. I don't think that our website has any capability like that.
Well, we can set up, uh. We can set up like a comment, form. I know we did that for the water project. You know, for people to submit questions. It's just an open, basically they fill out a form, or it's a.
Yeah.
Or free form text. And, they had done, and it sends an email out with exactly what they type. It's pretty basic.
Yeah, so, but we want something that goes out,
Right.
that's coming in.
Right, you want a way to collect email addresses
Yep,
and then be able to use that list to do a bulk mail.
yep,
And I'm pretty sure our site doesn't, at least as it is now, doesn't support that, or, our hosting service. I think that's, along with the survey, it's two separate modules. Now, another possibility is the guys that we, North Shore, where they are, they're sort of our first level support.
integrated systems, isn't that?
Oh, no, integrated systems is they're like the IT guys.
Yeah,
North Shore, because we had the website before we had a real IT
okay,
set up here. North Shore is sort of the first line of support for just the web page.
okay,
And then behind them sits, I think it's run on Weebly, they're just a web hosting company.
okay,
But if Eileen has a question or problem, she gives him a call. And if there's something she hasn't been able to handle, or when I was involved, I was able to handle, which wasn't that much. He was the guy that would deal with Weebly and sort it out.
okay,
And I think that costs more than $500 a year, and that's complete.
okay,
He might be, you might get his input for some sort, explain what we're doing. I haven't talked to him in ages, but I can email him.
okay, yeah. Cause even if it's just adding like a module to our website or something, like, I don't know if that's even technologically possible, but something
Yeah.
like that might be a better route than going with like a third party like MailChimp or something. Like, that's definitely an option and it's
Yeah.
fairly affordable.
I think my guess is the way it would work is we would have a link off of canadice.org to go to, MailChimp or
Mhm.
Constant Contact or Survey Monkey for the survey.
Yep.
And then it goes from there, and then when they complete it, bounces, would bounce back to the canadice.org domain. I suspect that's
Okay.
the way to do it, but I'll
Yeah.
ask him. He might have suggestions for.
I'm sure for the survey, that's gonna be the route that we wanna go. I just don't know because like the email list is something that we want to build like over time.
Yeah.
Like whoever we commit to now is a vendor we're probably gonna wanna stick with
Yeah.
for,
Well, I mean,
potentially
start with him and
decades.
see what he says.
Yeah.
Talk to people, wherever you know him from. See what they,
yeah,
see what they say.
okay. Great.
That's it for the agenda.
Yeah, that's it for the agenda.
I had a question.
Yeah,
You also sent out like a 10-page draft version.
yeah, that was something that was in that same folder. I pulled it up here. I'll share the screen, so, oh, I guess that our participant is calling in. They won't be able to see it, but just for the recording, I'll share
So no idea where that came from.
it. No.
Somebody started on that.
Yes, it was in the folder.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. There might be something in the file properties or metadata that tells us where it came from.
Yeah, I thought it was just kind of a good introduction before everybody's had a chance to read the whole plan, just sort of some of the key goals and key assumptions.
I thought it was something you might have thrown together. but-
No. No, I thought it was really well put together and a great little overview. And just as we're working on like the flyers and the ads, I thought there may be little phrases or nuggets of information that we choose to pull out and use in some of our communications. So yeah, I'm not sure who put this together. I would assume it was someone that was working on what would have that been, version 3? In 2007 through, it looks like 2010. This was
Huh.
potentially adopted sometime in 2010.
Yeah, I wonder if it was somebody who was planning ahead, trying to make sure it got jump started.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought this was just kind of a good little introduction, especially for, you're such a veteran. And you're a little bit more familiar with some of the plans, but I thought this was a good introduction before everybody has a chance to dive into the meat of the plan. And just kind of, I think, helpful it was a good review of, what residents had identified as the things that were important to them in previous plans. I thought it covered that well. So I think that's a really good starting point to understand, some of the feedback that previous surveys have gotten and how they turned that feedback into a plan.
It's a PDF too. It's around somewhere.
I think it was a PDF. Let me see.
Sounds like quite a mishmash.
Yeah, that's just one folder I showed you. I think that was comp plan light. Oh, yeah, I don't see yeah.
Hmm.
And it's funny because it's called draft 3 in the title, but then on the document it says draft 4. So Do you, I've downloaded and saved all of those files. Do you want the PDF so that you can? Or
The thumb drive or?
yeah, it's at my house. I don't have it.
Yeah, I'd just,
That you might be able to, pick some things that, like I say, there's just so much in here that it's a little bit hard to process it all. And there may be things that are more valuable to you and
recognize, yeah, sure, drop it off at the house sometime.
sure,
See Kathy walking by, flag her down, or
sure.
if I happen to be with her.
Yeah. Send Hazel out with it.
Yeah, hanging on myself, box or something.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, I think, I don't know if our participant has any questions or comments. Feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself. Sometimes when you call in, it's hard to know how to unmute yourself. I'm going to click asks to unmute if that's helpful and you want to make any comments. It may just be, hello.
Yeah, hey guys, finally. Hey, this is Ryan. Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Okay, well, Ryan, I apologize. We've got a little bit of a small group today. We had several people who weren't able to make it. So we didn't really get to dive into a ton. I know you just got a lot of those files, so you probably haven't had a ton of time to get caught up to speed. So I'll kind of do a little bit of the legwork I was chatting about. And we'll send out some cleaned up files via email. We may have a little bit more back and forth via email over the next couple weeks than we usually will. Just because we had such a small group today, we may hash some things out via email.
That sounds great.
Awesome. Well, we're absolutely thrilled to have you participate. And again, I apologize. We got a little bit of a late start and usually we plan to have our meetings take about an hour. Hopefully to keep it to an hour just to be conscious of everybody's time. And we recognize the commitment that everybody's making to the process. So just so you know, in the future, that's kind of what we'll anticipate happening.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions or anything that comes up, please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call. All right. Well, it was nice to meet you via phone. Safe travels, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in person at a future meeting.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Is he on the road somewhere? Does he travel for work?